Hello, so it's been absolutely ages since I made a video, and I'm sorry about that, but wow, life has been a bit crazy, and I just thought I'd make a quick one to sort of show you what I've been up to and kind of explain how things have been, which frankly hasn't been great. The bottom line is, you're probably aware, actually, it's quite well known, but food inflation on the prices of food in the UK is absolutely insane. The official government line is that food prices are running at 10% inflation at the moment. In actual fact, if you really add it up, it's more like 20%. And gosh, the last food shop I did was like nearly double the price of the one I did before for the same stuff. So it's really, really important at the moment that I grow as much vegetables as possible, get as much food growing by myself here. Just partly because of the money and partly because it's a lot healthier that way. Behind me there, you can see my, where is it there? My 1,000 gallon water tank, which I put in last year actually because we had a hose pipe ban for a very long time. It was extremely dry. This year, the weather's pretty good. We're getting a few days of sun and then a few days of rain, just alternating nicely. Touch wood. That's the way it'll stay because that is what the plant's like. So let me just give you a quick look at the garden. So this is my tallest raised bed. Kind of everything's cramped in here, and I can't get far away enough from it to really show you how tall it is. But it's about, I would say, about 2'6" off the ground, something like that. And I got this idea from a gardening YouTube channel called Dirt Patch Heaven. And basically, you have this really tall bed, and because of that, because of all the rotting down that's going on under the soil, it's got some manure in there and some old logs rotting away. That warms it up, and so we've got like pak choi lettuce. What else we got? We got kale, lettuce, just ordinary lettuce. Some of it red, some of it green. Carrots and some turnips growing here, right here in the foreground, and they're coming on quite nicely. So that is pleasing. Moving along very slightly, because like I say, everything is super cramped. We've got the potato patch, and these potatoes are growing in, can you see? They're growing in giant buckets, and they're coming on very well indeed, which is nice. And then I've got this tunnel thing over here with some onions growing in it, and room for quite a lot more to grow in it. It's covered in weeds at the moment, and some tomatoes there as well. So let's keep on going. Here we've got something for the chickens. This is called comfrey, and it's a wonderful plant for feeding chickens. Can't eat the leaves ourselves, being human, but the chickens turn them into eggs and protein, so that's really good. Coming on a treat, and I've sort of caged it in. There's some beans there just starting to come, and what else we got there? Some Swedish something. Chard, Swiss chard, that's what it is, not Swedish, it's Swiss chard and some celeriac, so that's all cool. Over here, moving along slightly more, we've got artichokes growing, Jerusalem artichokes, sunchokes, they're growing, and they need no work at all. They're absolutely brilliant things. Here, under all these nets, we've got some beetroot growing as well, and there's going to be more in there, and some rhubarb, which seems to grow nicely in UK, seems to grow nicely in this garden as well, and there's some more in the distance behind it there, next to my chair. And some peas in a big trough, which are coming along very nicely. I hope they're going to climb up that square mesh thing very soon. We'll take a look in the greenhouse as well. Here, I've got my sort of master plan, or part of my master plan anyway. This is a massive water butt which sprung a leak at the bottom, so I cut it in half, and got some winter squash there and some butternut squash growing there too. And they haven't come on very big for this time of year, but it was absolutely freezing cold until the end of April, so it's all a bit of a late start, but things are coming on. More tomato seedlings there, lots of tomatoes coming up this year. What's a fennel, herb fennel growing there. And some rather sad looking sunflowers. I'm going to get some water on those in a minute. More pak choi lettuce and some spring onions here. Carrots growing, tomatoes growing. More winter squash here. These are called sweet dumpling squash. They're doing very well indeed, and I'm really looking forward to eating them because they're supposed to be very nice indeed. And here we've got, it's not really in use at the moment, but it's a greenhouse within a greenhouse. And I used this during the colder weather to try and get some of the seeds to start. Some of them did, some of them didn't. And more tomatoes. And there's my jasmine plant there with some more lettuce growing next to it. So it's all absolutely crammed in, lots happening. And one reason for everything being crammed in is actually the ducks and the chickens. The chickens just kill absolutely everything. And I tended to just keep them stuck in their run, really, at the beginning of the year, because the ducks were doing a great job of eating the slugs and the chickens were just killing everything. But now the ducks have started killing everything as well by trampling on it, and they kind of dig things up to try and get the worms out from underneath. So I've got as much as I can in the greenhouse and as much as I can under nets outside, which you can also see. Another crazy thing, which I think is actually a good thing, but it's taking some getting used to, is compost. Usually I buy loads, well, I always still do buy loads and loads of compost actually, but in recent times, last year, it was getting hard to get hold of compost with peat in it, and this year it's pretty much all peat free. And that's kind of an experimental thing, even with the companies who are making it. And I'm all for it, you know. Peat, cutting all the peat out of a place causes a lot of environmental damage, which is not good. And we don't want to damage the environment any more than we already have, really. So I'm all in favor of it. But all the stuff you can get at the moment doesn't really hold water in, and it doesn't really hold nutrition in. So I'm experimenting with feeding seaweed, liquid seaweed stuff that I can get, which isn't cheap, but it is making quite a big difference. I'm getting better results in the peat-free compost than I did last year. So it's all pretty good in lots of ways. Let's take a look at the front of the house. There's a few things around there as well. Actually, just before I go around the front of the house, there's the other half of the garden. There's the half with things growing in it, all looking good and healthy and everything. And there's the other half, which I've yet to cultivate. Time has just crept up on me. So I've got to get that done as soon as possible, because we're headed towards late May when things all really need to be in and growing. So this is my fire pit, where I've been cooking things hanging from a tripod outside, because the price of cooking gas is extremely high at the moment. Vehicle gas, driving gas, is actually getting a little bit cheaper. So we come round the front, and here we've got some spring onions coming up. That's another comfrey plant, which is for my good friend Miranda next time I see her. But that's doing quite well, seems to be. Down here is a new one on me. This is called mint ginger, and it kind of tastes quite gingery and quite minty, quite interesting. Some more pak choi that I've just started to try and have a regular crop, because it's a superfood. Makes kind of weird meals you're not expecting, but it's good stuff. Some peas, more tomatoes. We're gonna have to give some of these tomato plants away, I think, and some potatoes growing in tyres as well. They're coming on incredibly well. I have some at the front of the house and some at the back of the house, just to hedge my bets, because you never know which side is going to be the best weather for growing things. And some more spring onions here and here. So that's the garden situation, and it's just taken a ton of work. I'm exhausted by the end of the day doing that. And cooking outside it's beautiful actually, but it's a learning curve, and it's taken a while at the moment. But it is how our, not just, ancestors sounds a long time ago. Our grandparents' generation cooked outside quite a lot, and nothing wrong with it. It works really, really well once you get it down, and I'm in the throes of getting it down. So I wanted to have a quick word about YouTube as well. I'm finding it kind of very disheartening. Round about Christmas, views were going up and things were looking good. So I invested in a 4K camera, which wasn't cheap. And no sooner did I start trying to upload in 4K than everything crashed. If I make a reasonable sort of full length 15-20 minute video in 4K, YouTube just doesn't like to upload it. I set it to upload, and an hour later it's still on 0%. Even if it reached 1% in an hour, that would take 100 hours to upload something. So that's just out. You can't put a video out every day when it's like that, can you? But my shorts are doing pretty well. They will upload. If I make a 1 minute short, it'll upload in 30 seconds. So YouTube can do it if it wants to. But there you go. YouTube has always been disheartening. I don't know why I thought it was going to be any better or any different, really. But, my hopes were high. So what I have been doing is I've been putting quite a lot on TikTok lately. I'll put the link to my TikTok down in the description. I know a lot of people are kind of afraid of TikTok because, the Chinese government is going to find out that you watch videos about whatever. But quite honestly, ask yourself, how much harm can that really do if the Chinese government knows what videos you like to watch and they're like tarot readings? I actually know from, because I listen to the Chinese, what's it called, Radio China International on my shortwave radio, and there's a lot of propaganda on there, but it is clear on there that the Chinese government think that tarot is nonsense, which isn't good, but they also think it's just a bit of fun, and I don't think anyone's going to get you're not going to get your door kicked down by Chinese stormtroopers if you watch tarot videos on TikTok. You're really not. So do check it out if you possibly can. And Instagram is going places very slowly as well. We know there are problems with the metaverse and all that kind of thing. But Instagram is still up and running, and so actually is Facebook, despite all the predictions to the contrary. So I will put all the links to all of those things down in the description. Probably the best way for us to keep in touch at the moment. But once the garden is kind of all planted and all I've got to do is spend a couple of hours a day watering it, then it's going to be, I'll get back to making some more regular videos. They won't be 4K, but hey, who cares about that as long as you can watch them? I'm looking forward to doing them. Got all the books here, look, all the cards and everything all kind of ready to go. So I will most certainly be back. The big thing at the moment is, making tunnels to keep the ducks and the chickens off the vegetables. It's essential. Otherwise, things start growing a bit and they just eat them straight away. It's crazy having carrots in a greenhouse, but they just get eaten. The wild birds come round and eat them as well. So just loads and loads that I've got to do there, really. But I've missed making videos. I've missed you guys. And, I just wanted to put something out today to let you know what's going on. So I will be back with future videos in the future. Hopefully not too long in the future. I look forward to that. I'm going to say thanks very much for watching, guys. Love and light to you. Blessings and peace.